I noticed in your predictions you didn't call that one. Water park psychologist.
No, in fact, but it does make it easier to, on my so-called predictions, I can just change it to, we're all doomed. How's that prediction?
Yeah, that's that one's still
we're
probably there.
There's
a certain strain of we're all doomed running through many of these. Not all, though.
No, not necessarily all of them. Today we're looking at the predictions, and I want to make this really clear. I've never made predictions before. I have...
well, wait a minute. No, I'm not going to let you get away with that. You've definitely made a zillion predictions before. A zillion of them. You've never made annual, start of the year. Yeah,
I've never made it like this. When I say something, it's usually because I just feel it in my bones. You know, the caliphate is coming. I just knew that it was coming. I've never sat down, during the holiday and said, okay, this is not a prediction. This is more of a forecast. How's that?
Right. Like you can't schedule the type of predictions you usually make.
Yes.
Right? Like
right.
It comes with a lot of thought. It comes with inspiration. It comes with all sorts of different things.
More inspiration than thought. This came with a lot of thought and no general inspiration.
No inspiration at all. And so you can go to glennbeck.com. And yesterday was politics. Today is foreign affairs. With the predictions for 2018 that you've decided just to come out. And if you're a sports talk fan, a sports radio fan, you kind of recognize this almost as bold takes. Like you're kind of like going out on a limb a little bit. This is not you just saying.
It's not me saying, you know what, put your money here.
Right.
This is me saying, you know what, I could see this happening in the next 12 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see what you have predicted, and it's interesting to see how the audience has sort of reacted to it.
Okay, so are the foreign affairs, are those up?
Yeah, they're up to vote for now. So the idea is you vote for it if you think it's going to come true.
So should we start at the least, what the audience has said is the least? Are there enough votes there yet?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously yesterday was the day we did the politics one. Okay. I would tell you that poll showed the least likely thing to happen, as Hillary Clinton and Umo Abedin will be charged with crimes.
Right. Well, I did say Bitcoin at $1 million is more likely to happen on that one. But
and you kind of go through, the most likely political was the freedom movement will experience somewhat of a renaissance, both U.S. and globally. I don't know if that's wishful thinking, but 23% of people said that was the most. The votes are very early. We just posted this at glennbeck.com. Okay. But I can give them to you in that order if you want. You want to start with the least likely?
Yeah, least likely.
Least likely. As part of the larger Brexit and other independence movements in Europe, the EU will seek and likely enter into a broad free trade agreement. Participating nations will include the U.S., Canada, and the UK, as well as other Western-aligned powers globally, including Japan and South Korea. This will be done by EU leaders to try to stave off independence movements in Spain, Italy, and other EU member countries. As that one could just be that they care the least about that one.
Yeah, it could be.
Right.
It could be.
It's a trade prediction. Yeah. It's an EU prediction.
And what it is because I do think that we are so close to collapse, and there is this freedom movement that is going on, and you look at countries like Italy, it's not in good shape. It's really not in good shape. And there's going to be people like Germany going, get them out of the EU. I don't want to pay for Italy too. Mm-hmm. We're already paying for Greece. I'm not paying for Italy too. And so there's going to be this movement inside to get out of the EU. And there's going to be a movement from both the countries saying, well, I want my freedom to make my own deals. And then there's also going to be the ones that are saying, I want them out. So I think that they're going to try to play this game to where they can say, you can, go ahead, make some deals here and there. This is way out on a limb.
Is another reason why they think it's the least likely thing to happen out of your predictions, because you're including the U.S. in a free trade agreement, which is essentially what Trump ran against. It would be surprising to see him enter that type of agreement.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
All
right. Sixth place, China will land a rover on the dark side of the moon.
I'm telling you that's going to happen.
People do not believe you, apparently.
It's going to happen.
At least early on.
Yeah.
We just talked to a NASA expert who said it's possible.
Yeah. So China's going to land a rover on the dark side of the moon. This is going to be claimed as a scientific mission. I don't think the astronaut believed me on what I was talking about, but I think that he said that this is exactly what would happen if they do it, that they're going to have to launch a satellite in orbit over the moon, and that satellite will be able to transmit all of the information from the dark side of the moon back to Earth, because you can't get a radio signal or a satellite signal on the dark side of the moon because the moon's in the way. So it'll be the first time that somebody has put a satellite over the moon and communicate back and go to the dark side of the moon. I believe that they are doing this, as I say here, that they say this is a scientific mission, which it will be, but it is also their first step in controlling cislunar space, which is critical to national security. So that's number 6, huh?
It is number 6, and I think part of the reason why that's low is obviously Pink Floyd already predicted it.
Okay.
So
right.
that's another part
All
of it. Number 5, the return of the 12th Imam will be used by the leaders of Iran in a desperate attempt to hold on to and consolidate power.
This audience doesn't believe that?
I'm surprised. I mean, it's very early. These votes just started being cast.
Yeah.
We're going to give you the day. We're going to review your votes tomorrow on this. But I mean, they just started being cast.
Okay, so let me give you this.
This is not your. I think maybe they may be saying, well, the 12th Imam's going to return.
I'm not saying that.
No, you're saying they're going to claim it.
They're already saying that the 12th Imam is back and walking among them. They're already saying that. Okay, so what I'm saying is, I'm not saying you're going to see or meet the 12th Imam or that he's even real. What I'm saying is, to quell the mob, they're going to appeal to the uber religious. And they're going to say the 12th Imam is here. They're going to use him in any way possible in a desperate attempt to hold on and to consolidate power. They will begin to prepare the religious fanatics for a bloody and bloodthirsty war, which will in time engulf the entire Middle East. And it will mainly happen between Turkey and Iran at first. Those are the two competing powers. Combined in an ongoing conflict against Saudi Arabia and a wider Arab League, Iran will be considerably weakened internally while dealing with these internal conflicts in 2018, reducing their overall influence regionally and globally, and look for an attempt to start a new Arab Spring the week of the first day of spring in Iran, because it is also the Persian New Year.
That could be a big one. I mean, any unrest there can turn into a lot more. The third biggest one is one we actually got a preview of during our Christmas party, during a speech you made at the Christmas party.
It's such a holiday.
Yeah, I mean, when you're thinking, stockings, you've got people roasting chestnuts, doing Christmas carols, and then obviously you throw in the organ harvesting,
right?
Which is kind of related. Number 3 is persecution of Christians, gays, non-Muslim, or religious minorities, and those Muslims not deemed Muslim enough will reach new lows for humanity in the Middle East, including potentially the harvesting of organs. Which, again, if that doesn't make you want, Christmas candy cane, I don't know what does.
So here's the rest of this. Turkey will continue to turn towards religious fascism and will continue to make hard turns towards Sharia law. They're going to continue to march toward a new caliphate or a new Ottoman Empire. The Kurds are going to be the biggest target. What will come out of the next few years is going to resemble the Germans with the Poles or the Ottomans in the 1918 genocide. I think you're going to see genocide with the Kurds and also the Christians and everybody else. It's going to be ugly.
Now, a lot of these predictions you've gone out on a limb on. This one I cannot give you credit for. Cultural clashes between immigrants and natives will cause a backlash from the public across Western Europe. I mean, isn't that already happening?
Yeah.
You think it's going to get worse?
Yes, it's going to get worse because listen to the rest of it. Even though Russia and Putin's meddling in the elections and the affairs of other Western countries will be made more clear, the press and the governments of the world will ignore this until it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the interesting things of the Fusion GPS transcripts that were released recently. Both sides are just protecting their political argument with the questions. None of them are taking the Russian threat seriously. And like we've said over and over, this is not about Donald Trump. It's not about Hillary Clinton. It's about Russia and what they're trying to accomplish. And the questioning to the Fusion GPS representatives was much less about that and much more about, well, don't you mean that Donald Trump's innocent? Don't you mean that Hillary Clinton didn't do anything wrong? And it's like, well, that is a part that we're all fascinated by, I guess, but really of limited value when you compare it to what Russia is attempting around the world and here.
So the same thing is going on. We're just not paying attention to the right stories. Yesterday, I had one of the big movers and shakers in Silicon Valley. It came into the office and met with me yesterday for about 2 hours. We had a fascinating conversation. I effectively begged, can we tape this? Fascinating conversation. And it basically was on that kind of topic. People are not aware of what is really happening and what's really important, what's right around the corner, how things are going to dramatically change, and no one is really talking about it.
We have more predictions coming up. The number one overall prediction that the audience so far has voted for from Foreign Affairs of 2018. You can get the list at glennbeck.com, and you can see the ones from yesterday, which was about politics. And you can get the entire list if you just sign up to the new email newsletter, and they'll send you the whole thing, which is kind of cool.
The forecast. I've never done this before, where I take and look at foreign affairs, the economy, high tech, health, and everything else, and then break it up and then I came up with 40 different things that I think could happen this year. And it's really kind of more of a sport than anything else. But if you would like to vote on which ones you think are likely and unlikely, you can do that at glennbeck.com. Just look for my predictions for 2018. Foreign Affairs is today. We're covering some because of something that happened in China. We're kind of going to cover the economy today at 5 o'clock on the Glenn Beck program.
Yeah, you have so there's a bunch of ways you can get this. Go to glennbeck.com and vote. Right now, the number one, and this is going to change maybe, but number one is Turkey will continue to turn towards religious fascism and will continue to make hard turns towards Sharia law. That's a scary possibility because they're a real power there. This is not just, some, small group doing something that's that we don't like. This is a big, powerful pseudo ally of us over the past few years. They've been part of the hope of the Middle East at times, and that seems to be fading away.
Yeah, they're not an ally. They're not an ally.
But increasingly, right? I mean, if you would have said this 10 years ago, you might have been much more optimistic about the future of Turkey.
Yes.
The past few years.
I've never thought that they belonged in NATO, but I was hopeful because of the way their constitution was set up.
And they were helpful early in the war on terror in some ways. I mean, it hasn't been complete, but it does seem like they're taking a turn towards the dark side. The
entire world is going to take a turn towards the dark side. And when you see these connected with the economic forecast, you will understand why. You'll see that the economic forecast is going to be dicey. I mean, it's weird because as tonight I'll talk about it at 5 o'clock. I believe we are going to go into a melt up, which could take, 24 months. I think we're already in the beginning of it. Dow 25,000. I think we're at the beginning of it. And I think we could see the Dow at 50,000 in 2 years. I think I put on my prediction that Dow 30,000 by the end of 2018. I think it could be higher than that myself. I think it could be 35. But that'll be part of the melt up, and it'll be really critical that you understand that.